Good morning, everyone. This is Pilates. I'm Jackie. Thank you for joining me. 45 minutes, so lie out your mat, find a space. You don't need very much space. Just come down to lie on your back. I will give you plenty of options. So if there's anyone who is pregnant or just joining us for the first time, then don't worry. You'll be perfectly able to access the class. So come down, lying on your back, and just bend the knees. If anyone is brand new, actually I'll just show you the position for the pelvis. I think I've shown this each time, but obviously I don't know if there's any newbies. So you want to tilt the pelvis out, really stick the bum out, arch the back. That's position A. And then if you really tuck the tailbone under, that's position C. During the practice, you want to try and maintain somewhere in between. So this is known as B. So somewhere that feels that you can keep the pelvis in that position and brace on the abdominals. When you're lying down, it's quite hard to see that position. So knees, then heels underneath, feet underneath hip width. We're just going to start with some pelvic tilts, pelvic rolls. So just find that position that I was just explaining. So stick the bottom into the mat and feel the arch on the lower back. You can almost slide the fingers underneath to find that shape. It's almost like you're really extending, really arching the back. And then draw the pelvis up towards the ceiling, and you'll feel that the lower back now can compress into the mat. So you're going in the opposite direction. It's almost like cat-cow if you're familiar with those stretches. And then bring the pelvis back to B, so somewhere in between the two. And just do that a few more times in your own pace. So it's arching through the back, feeling that space through the lower spine, and then drawing up, compressing. Some teachers will refer to this as an imprint. Depends when they trained. And then come back to somewhere in between the two. So we'll just do that one more time before we start to lift the body up. So just familiarise yourself with this neutral position of the pelvis. And then as you come back to your middling point, so your position B, you want to think about bracing the abdominals. So if I was to drop a weight on your belly, it would bounce off, ideally. So Pilates is going to work, if you're new, the abs, the obliques, the muscles in the side waist, and also the posterior chain, so the back of the body as well. It's going to strengthen other forms of exercise that you do. So just check when you stretch your arms down that you can touch your heels with your fingers, so you know they're in roughly the right position for you. And then you're going to concentrate on that pelvic tilt, so push the bottom in, imprint the lower back, compress the lower back, and then start to lift the body up. So start to lift the hips up to the sky. You can kind of bring the elbows into the side body and send the arms up. So you've got some strength here through the lower body. You're not compressing or pushing through the palms, through the arms. And then just adjust your feet if you need to. If they're too far forward, you'll find that you haven't got the strength through the glutes and through the quads to lift up. So you want to lift up on the effort. On the exhale, you can breathe out through the nose or through the mouth, and lower on the inhale. So you're engaging through the back body here, and particularly through the glutes, through the buttocks, and also the quads, muscles in the thighs. Go at your own pace. You'll feel that the shoulders are also opening. So this is a back bend as well. So you're getting an opening across the chest, the upper body, rolling onto the shoulders. And then in a moment, if you want to, we'll incorporate some shoulder mobility with this. So you can go at your own pace. You don't need to go super quick. Pilates exercises are more about building strength and really sort of perfecting the move first of all. So if you want to, you can float your arms as you come up. Float the arms up over the head. You can do one arm, you can do both arms. Bring the backs of the hands, if they'll reach to the floor, but don't force the shoulder mobility. If you find that sometimes if you're quite muscly in the upper body, then the palms won't necessarily reach the floor, and that's okay, but you're still opening up across the chest. So if this feels too unstable for you, then you can just come back and come onto the elbows and just work through the lower body. So you choose the option for you. If you are pregnant and you don't need to lift up quite as high, you can do as many repetitions as feels comfortable for you, and then just take a little breather. In a moment we're going to go to single legs and work on one side of the body at a time. So let's do 3 more repetitions with or without the arms combined. Exhaling on the effort as you lift up. Inhale as you lower down, and think about the rolling of the spine as each vertebra comes back to the floor. So you're trying to really mobilise through the whole of the back. And you'll also find that your Pilates will help with your day-to-day posture as well. Lovely, so that's probably 3 repetitions. If you feel like the lower back does need a release, then any time you like during the whole class, just hug your knees in over your chest and either just give them a hug or just give yourself a little gentle rock from side to side. It's like a reverse child's pose really, and this will release the sacrum area of your back. So take your feet back down. I'm going to work on one side of the body, so you're going to lift up the right leg in a moment. So I'm going to bring the elbows back by the side of the body. You're going to lift up first of all into your hip bridge or hip extension, and then this right leg is the knees going to come over the chest. You're going to extend and point the toes to the ceiling. You're going to bend that leg again over the chest and then lower the foot down. Now what you want to watch is that when you lift up with that leg, that you don't suddenly collapse through the left side of the body, and vice versa. If you are lifting your left leg, you don't want to suddenly collapse down. Okay, so you're looking for more strength because you're only working one side. If this is too much, then feel free, come back to double leg hip bridges. No problem with that at all. So let's take a breath in. As we breathe out, we lift up through both feet. We inhale with the right knee over chest. We lengthen and extend the leg, push and fire up through the left side of the body, bend the leg, and then lightly release the foot. Left side, knee comes in over chest, leg extends, knee comes in and release. Now, if your hamstrings are really tight, then don't worry if you need to keep the legs softly bent, that's fine. Just aim in the direction of the ceiling as you extend up. Because we're working and firing up through the buttock, through the glute. We're not too worried about the hamstring at the moment. So go at your own pace. We're alternating each leg. And connect with the breath, so make sure you're not holding on to the breath. Maybe just notice if one side feels slightly easier for you. Probably your more dominant side. Stronger leg, stronger glute. So by working individually on each side of the body, we're trying to balance and strengthen out our weaker muscles. Tends to be if you're left-handed, then your left side will be stronger, or if you played a racket sport, your left arm, forearm, etc., shoulder would probably be stronger. So we're going to do 2 more on each leg. So take your time. Great, and then as you lower the back down to the mat, just hug in the knees. If you are pregnant, keep the knees really wide and just gently release the lower back and the glutes. Okay, we're going to do some work on the side waist now. So your pregnancy option is to come onto the forearms Have the knees over the hips. Gently rotate through the side body. It doesn't need to be a big movement. You're kind of like sweeping from side to side, like you're painting a little rainbow. Okay, so the rest of us, you can join in with that option. There's nothing wrong with sitting up if you prefer. Otherwise, you can float your arms out in line with your shoulders and bring your knees up over your hips. And then we just gently lower both legs at the same time to one side until you can feel the stretch through the side waist, through the obliques, and then go over to the other side. Using my mic today. And then keep the tension through the lower abdominals and don't let the legs come to the floor completely. So you find your own range of movement, your own biting point, I call it in yin yoga, kind of your own edge even is what I was looking for then. And try as far as possible, if you're not seated, to allow your shoulders to come away from the floor. So if the legs are going in the right direction, your left shoulder will want to try and lift. You want to try and anchor and root them down and get that stretch through the side body. And as we get tired, the knees might creep in towards the chest. You want to try and make sure that you're keeping them over the hips, maybe even slightly further away so you've got more of a brace through the lower abdominals. Neck and head and jaw are fully relaxed here. There's no tension through the upper body. We're firing into the lower body right now and the waist. So let's just slow it down. The slower the movement, full time under tension, the harder it is. So maybe you hold and hover for 3 slow mental counts. As the knees come over to one side, think slow. 3, 2, 1. And then it's a controlled move back to centre, so don't fly the legs back through. And then on the other side, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do that one more time on each side. And then we'll change it up. So 3, 2, 1. And then brace through the belly as you gently let the legs go to the other side. 3, 2, and 1. Come back through centre. Either just let the feet come back to the mat, or if you're seated, you can just fold over the legs, gentle release for the back. Or if you're lying with me, you can even hug the knees in over the chest. You choose. So we're going to continue with the theme of the waist and the side of the body. So the knees are going to come over the hips. You're going to bring your fingertips by your ears or gently interlace and put them behind your head. We're going to go for what's known in Pilates as a crisscross. You probably know it as a bicycle or alternate oblique crunch. There's so many different names. So if you want the full advanced exercise, then extend the opposite leg away and think about drawing the shoulder across in the direction of the knee. Don't be tempted to bring that knee all the way in. Try and lift up and peel up through the upper body. You can just gently touch the toe down, okay, to the floor, or you can keep the legs bent and just bring the upper body across. So those are your choices. The crisscross, okay, so keep the knees over the hips, and instead of doing opposite elbows to knee, just toe tap like such. All right, so let's choose an option, whatever works for you today. In fact, that neutral pelvis. Take a breath, breathe out, bring the knees over the hips, and then you begin on your option today. So you want to really peel the shoulder off of the mat, draw it across, feel the side waist, feel the rib cage, feel all those muscles, intercostal muscles, having to work. Remember, option, you can toe tap it. So left elbow to right, right elbow to left. Or pregnancy option, just let the head rest, no tension through the upper body. You're just doing an alternate toe tap. So you're working your lower abdominals. It is useful and important to still work the core and the pelvic floor muscles. All right, so wherever you are, just breathe through these exercises. We need some oxygen, fresh oxygen to the cells, to the muscles, and that will mean you can work on your endurance and keep going for longer. So let's do 6 more, slowly. And 1, beautiful. So either just let the feet flop to the floor and rest, or if you feel that your lower back needs a release, bring it in. Hug the thighs. All right, so we're going to do one more exercise from this position before we come up. So this is known as a teaser in Pilates. If you do yoga with me on a Saturday regularly, then you'll probably know it as a boat position. So knees over hips, body led down. You rock up and you hold. Now this is the option to bring the toes close to the floor. Okay? Intermediate, shins parallel to sky. More advanced, the legs can lengthen out. So you roll back down. You roll up, you extend, back, down. And as you roll back down, so as you come down, you want to control the movement as much as you're controlling the movement up. Pregnancy option, come back onto the forearms, okay? Bring the knees over the hips. And you could do one leg at a time. If you wanted to, you can do both legs. If that's too much, come back to the toe tap, okay? So if for whatever reason you don't want to rock on your sacrum, you don't want to rock on your spine, then probably just come up to seated and just do the movement through the legs, okay? And really think about that embrace through the abdominals. So lots of choices, you decide. So if you're starting with me, lie back down. Think about the brace through the abdominals. The legs initially are bent, so draw in. Roll up, you can hold the legs, lengthen out, breath, pause. It's all about the time under tension. Bend the legs, lower back down. Roll up, open across the chest and the shoulders, extend, fold, release. Breathe as you do it. So breathe out as you roll through to a seated position. Think about that V shape through the spine. You can, if you want, and the lower body. You can keep the legs lower, if you prefer. And the less rock, the more controlled movement through that sit-up, and the lower down, the better. So if you rock, you're obviously not using quite as many muscles as we would like. Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm getting hot and it's quite painful. Yay! Great, I've not got a clock, so I might go on for hours. I might just need a time check at some point. I've just realised there's no clock there. Oh. All right, let's do 3 more of these wherever you are. Remember, if you are taking the option, you're on your forearms and you're just bending and lengthening. Don't worry if you can't find it, you can just give me a 5-minute time check. You might end up doing a 3-hour class today, guys. Woohoo! And release. Great. So we're going to come over, come up and over, thank you, and take a wide child's pose, just for that release after those teasers. So take the big toes together, take the knees super wide, and let your body flop through the centre. Just rest for a moment. Alright, so now we're going to lie on one side of the body. So just make sure you can hear me. Verbal cues are probably the most important. And lie yourself down so that your shoulder, your hip and your ankle are in one line, one long line. You can rest on the tricep or you can support and prop the head up. It's personal preference. And bring the knees in front of you, so bend the legs and bring the legs in front, and we're going to do a clam. So we're going to open the legs up and then close them, so the feet stay together and you're just opening this top leg as far as you can. It's like a hinge of a door really, and then lowering it back down. So as I say, you choose the position of your head that's most comfortable for you during this move. Think about the top hip facing up, so your pelvis is not rocking, you're not rolling onto your back like this, okay? You're keeping the hips stacked as you open up through the top leg. So breathe and connect with the muscles that are having to fire up in this top leg. So keep breathing and keep squeezing. So Tonya, I hope you're doing this. Big shout out to Tonya. She lives literally a few doors away from me and I haven't seen her for years, and she used to do my classes. I bumped into her the other day. So, and all of you, I hope you're all enjoying it and joining in with all the classes. You've got lots of variety. So we're going to do 3 more clams. Open up with that top knee, touch the toes, touch the heels. 1 more. Great. Now we're going to lengthen out both legs, stack the hips, glue them together. This hand can support here in front of you, or if you want more of a challenge, rest it on the thigh. You're going to hinge up and lower down. Hinge up, pause, lower down. So control the legs as you lower them as well as when you lift them. And think about a moment, little pause, momentary pause in the air, because that's when those obliques are really working. So think about the muscles in the waist. If you want to try, you can bring that hand onto the top thigh. Wobble around like me. Lift up and then lower down. Lift up, lower down. So it makes it just a lot more imbalanced. So connecting with your breath here. Make sure both legs are lifting, you're not just lifting the top leg. Let's do 3 more of these. Great. Okay, have a little rest. The legs now are going to go into a scissor action. So one's going to come forwards, one's going to go back. You're not, again, not rolling back, you're not rolling forwards. Hip bones facing parallel to the ceiling. So you can point or flex your feet and move the leg as well. So start when you're ready. If you feel like you need it, you can always put extra cushioning under the bottom hip bones. Sometimes people, I'm on a carpet and I've got a really thick mat, so I'm fine, but sometimes when I do these exercises on a hard floor, people will say they really struggle. So fold the mat or pop a little pillow underneath that lower hip. So really elongate the legs. It's called a scissor action. Also probably feel it in the hamstrings a little bit too. So you can always bend the knees, soften the knees if it's too much. Let's do 3, 2, and 1. Great. And then bend the legs again. As we did when they were long, you're going to lift both legs in a bent position, up and down in a controlled fashion. So breathe first of all, you hinge them up and then you lower. You hinge and you lower. It's not a quick movement. You're trying to really squeeze and hold everything in. Okay, so let's breathe. Hinge up, pulse, breathe, pause, even not pulse, and lower down. Lift up, lower down. Pregnancy option, you can just do that top leg bent if you prefer, or long. Either of those is cool. So hinging up, control on the lower down. Hinge up, control. Don't be tempted to roll back or rock back. It doesn't need to be a super high movement. It can be quite low to start with so you get used to it. Squeeze in the glutes as well. Engage the navel to the spine. Do 3 more. And 1, great. We're going to come up, and before we do the other side, we're going to come on to hands and knees. So bring yourself over, have a drink if you need one. Set yourself up on an all fours position, toes tucked. Okay? We are going to hold a knee hover. So this is like a bear crawl, you're just literally holding a static position. Option, if you need to, is to drop the knees down in between. So you would lift up, maybe take 2 or 3 rounds of breath, and then let the knees drop, and then come back in. We're going to do this for a minute, okay? So I'm going to time us. So bring the shoulders over the wrists, tuck the toes under, have some space between the legs, so hip width maybe slightly wider. I'm going to make sure the back is in a neutral position, so you've got that neutral pelvis, so you're not arching in the cow position, but you're also not in a cat, where the back's very rounded. So come into cat-cow if you need to find that neutral spine from this shape. Brace on, so breathe in and then lift those knees, but keep that back nice and flat. So I'm starting the clock now. So you're doing a minute, but remember your choice and your option is to let the knees come back down, and I'll give you that's 15 seconds, so you can always touch down halfway. So really strong through the arms. We want to lock out through the arms to make it slightly easier for you. Right, we're approaching halfway now. So if you needed to, touch the knees down, have a little rest, shake out the wrists, then come back in. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Sit back if you need a rest. Child's pose, release the back. Well done. This is the longest minute of the class for you. Right, let's roll over. So you're doing the other hip, you're doing the other side waist, okay? So set up, nice and long on your mat. Remember, you can take some cushioning if you need to, underneath the lower hip. And then you want your shoulder, your hip, and your ankle in that line. And then bring the knees slightly further in front of you with the legs bent to start with. So we're starting with the clam. So you open up and then you bring the knees together. We've definitely done this once before since I've been teaching these classes live. So close, feet stay glued together. It's only the knees that are opening, the top knee that's opening. You open back, you're engaging all the muscles in the outer side of this leg, the glute, and then close. So think about tensing the muscles as you open and close. So this is called a clam in Pilates. No idea why. So you can rest head if it's more comfortable for you. And just breathe. Hopefully you're getting your workout in now, because I think the sun's coming back tomorrow, so might be lucky. Better forecast, I think. If you're like me, you're probably really missing it. So get your little workouts in, break up your day, especially if you're working at desk. It's really good. Stretch it out, posture, but also just your back. Like so many people that I speak to ask me for help with their lower back, and it's because they've got long journeys to work and they're in the car, and then they get to work and they're sat at desk for the rest of the day. And now that they're on lockdown, they're like, oh, my back's great. I'm like, yeah. So let's do 3 more clams. It's all about just keeping the body moving regularly, even if it's just getting up, making a cup of tea, coming back to your desk. There we go. So we're now going to lengthen out through the legs. So both legs stacked, both legs long, and we are going to do the zip up. So the legs are glued together and you're kind of moving them as one unit, okay? So we lift up, we pause, and then we control and lower down. Lift up, so hovering, doesn't have to be like really, really high, and then lower gently. So if you're new, the height might be lower, or you might, if you're getting used to the movement, as I say, we're all different. It doesn't have to be quick, it doesn't have to be high. It's about just perfecting the technique, really. So like I say, if you want more challenge, pop that hand on the top thigh. And that will bring in that greater element of balance. You want to wobble around a bit more then. Let's do 3 more with the legs long. One more. Great. Just have a little rest. Ooh. Using this mic pack. We're going to have our legs long. I think, what was the third move? Blank. There we go. So, scissoring the legs, and then the double leg bent hip lift. Right, so flex or point your feet. Got a little rest there. One leg comes through, one leg goes back at the same time. So just as much range of movement as you've got through the hamstring, but also through the hip. Might not have lots of space at home, so don't worry if you can't take the legs as far as you necessarily would if you were doing this in a class or studio. Just work with what you've got. Keep that lower hip though rooted down, so the buttock, the hip bone is in contact with the mat, and you're not rolling forwards or backwards. You're trying to keep those hips stacked. Both legs are off the floor, so you've got that tension through the abdominals. Remember, pregnancy option, either softly bent leg, lowering, lifting, or you can do a long leg, lead with the heel, lead with the outer part of the foot, the outer edge. So those are your choices. If you need to rest at any point, rest and then join back in. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. Great. And then we bring the knees through, we bend the legs, and this is where we would lift both legs as one entity, but this time with them bent. Option, just lift that top leg only with the bottom leg grounded. Okay, so set up, just if you need to, the position of the head or the neck, be comfortable, and your bottom hip. So we breathe, we squeeze, we hinge up, we pause, and then we control as we lower down. Hinge up, lower with control. Hinge up, lower, gently. Hinge up, lower. So you can go at your own pace, you can go slower if you wish. Little lift where you're engaging all the muscles in the waist. Let's do 3 more repetitions. One more. Great. And then we're going to bring ourselves over and we're going to do hands and knees. We can do that bear crawl knee hover just for 1 more time before we lie onto our front. Okay, so you know the option, you can drop the knees down at any point if you need a rest. So bring your spine into neutral, stack your shoulders over your wrists. I'm going to counter, so breathe in. If you want to try something different, I think it's harder, don't tuck the toes, keep the feet flat. Okay, so that's your choice. So I'm going to try that this time. So we're going to breathe in, I'm going to time this for 1 minute from now. So really lengthen, strengthen the arms, push through the palms, push through the feet or the toes if they're tucked. We've already done 10 seconds. Option, drop the knees down at any point. Approaching halfway through. That's your halfway point. Keep breathing. Last 10 seconds. 5. And release. Great. I bet the yogis have missed that move, eh? Right, so we are going to lie on our front now to work our back. However, if anyone joining us is pregnant, I'll give you an option. So you're going to stay on your all fours. Okay, I'll come back up and show you your option in a moment. So you're going to lie yourself down. This is the last little bit of the class. You're going to make a pillow for your forehead. Rest it. You might actually have an actual cushion at home. Feet and legs are hip width apart or wider if you struggle with tension through the lower back. Going to lift the right leg up, point the foot, release. Lift the left leg up, point, release. So we're just going to do alternate leg lifts. If you are on all fours, you're going to extend one leg, going to lift it up, lower, bring it back, lengthen out, lift, lower, bring it back. Okay, so there's your choices. Let's begin. So squeeze the glutes, lift, fire up, muscles in the back, and lower. So control the leg up and down, and by pointing or flexing your foot, you'll bring more tension into the leg. So go at your own pace. We're alternating the legs that are lifting right now. Or you're on all fours, lengthening back and up. Connect with your breath. Let's do one more on each leg. Great. Rest the lower body out. Extend your arms at a capital Y shape with the thumbs facing up. Rest your forehead down. So if your shoulders were tight, this position is much better. Sometimes you'll see people in strut with the arms right by the ears. It's quite hard for a lot of people. So take it as wide as you need to find comfort in the move. You can do exactly the same thing as we've just done, but this time with the arms. So you lift one up and lower. You lift the other up and lower. If you're on your all fours, one arm forwards, release. Pelvis neutral, hips don't move. One arm forwards, release. So you just alternate that movement. Glue those feet into the mat if you're lying down. Lift up, release. Lift up, release. You can, if you need to, just release the forehead from the mat to give you more space to lift up, but keep the gaze looking down still. So do one more on each arm. Great. So now I'm going to put those two movements together and we're going to do opposites. Okay, so sometimes this is known as Superman. So you're going to do your right arm and your left leg, like so, and then you're going to do your left arm and your right leg. And as you lift it up, you are going to pause, find that time where the muscles are engaged, and then control and lower. All fours, opposite leg and arm, levers, extend. Okay, but again, try and stabilize the hips. That's harder on all fours than it is lying down. So let's begin. Take your time, engage and lift. You can always just do one end of the body. So if this is too much, maybe you're working with a shoulder injury or impingement, or maybe you're just tired, then just leave the arms out and just do the legs. You'll still get the benefit. You'll still strengthen the muscles in the back of the body here. That's what we're doing, the posterior chain. So really squeeze as you lift. And control as you lower. If you're like me, my brain's not working today and I'm doing the same leg and the same arm. I would say that it doesn't matter because you can't see me, but you can. Never mind. You can try the same leg and the same arm if you want to. But we're strengthening the muscles diagonally across the body. All right, let's do one more on each side. So make them your best. Pause, control and lower. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, lower. If you're on all fours, you're going to sit back in a wide knee child's pose, and the rest of us are going to join you. So we're going to push ourselves back from lying on our front to sit back on our heels. So big toes touching, knees mat width, body just rests through the centre. Well done. Just find the breath now. Great, and then we're just going to stretch it out. So bring yourself back into that all fours shape. And just for the back, in case you're going to spend the rest of the day seated at a computer, then just do some cat-cow stretches, okay? So you can do these at your own pace. arching through the back, bringing the head through, gaze looks up. And then as you exhale, this is your cat. So the movement comes from the tailbone, not from the head. So you really push into the floor, draw the navel in, push away. Just do a few of those just to release any tension you might have through the spine. Great. And then let's stretch the arms forwards, crisscross the wrists, round the back, stretch the arms out. Nice stretch across the upper back. And then take them behind you, so you interlace the fingers, draw them back. So if you want more, squeeze the palms together, feel the stretch across the upper shoulder. Release, and then take hand to the hip or hand to the floor, or even by the thigh. And stretch over laterally. Breathe in. Come up, just change sides, switch. Great, let's do one more each side. Good luck. Beautiful, then give yourself a well-deserved clap. So thank you for joining me. This has been Pilates with Jackie. So tonight there is a class on Facebook Live with Ben. I think it's Body Attack at 6:15. So make sure you just Google Workout Bristol Ashton and you'll find it. And then I'm back Saturday morning with some more yoga at 9:15. And I think there's a boot camp as well tomorrow morning. So yeah, just have a look at the timetable on social media. Stay safe and hopefully the sun will be back with us soon. Thank you. I'll see you again.